Hey YouTube, Matty's Daddy 12 back again with another deck profile. I've taken some time off, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, but I've taken some time off. I needed to spend some time with the family. You guys really need to do that from time to time. Spending time with the family is very important, and yeah, it is what it is, guys. You need to spend time with your family, so do it. But I have been asked several times about my TG Stun deck. This is a deck that I wrote an article about on Legit YGO. I'll put a link down below to the article so you guys can head over to Legit YGO and read the article. As you guys know, I've been writing for Legit YGO. I'm actually the YuGiOh content editor for them. So I wrote this article and I gave a deck profile on there, but people want to see the video deck profile because I did some little dual videos with it, so they want to see a video deck profile. So YouTube, here you go. This is the deck profile for my TG Stun. You start off with the TG engine, 3 Rush Rhino. He gets his attack boost. He's a beater. He becomes 2,000 attack. Warwolf, you can special summon when a level 4 lower monster is special summoned. This includes your opponent's side of the field. So what you can actually do is it just kind of sets in your hand, and then whenever they go to special summon, make their push, you can then reveal Warwolf, special summon it, almost like a battle fader of sorts, special summoning it on their turn. And then when they run it over, you get to add your TG monster to your hand. And then 2 TG strikers. I only run 2 striker. However, what this guy does for you, he is kind of like a Cyber Dragon. If your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you can special summon him. And he is also a level 2 tuner, which didn't really mean a lot before, but it means a lot more now. And then, of course, the TG effect, whenever one of them dies, you can search for a TG monster to add back. So if Striker dies, you can add Warwolf or Rush Rhino. Or if Warwolf dies, you can add Rush Rhino or Striker. Or if Rhino is destroyed, you can add Warwolf or Striker. So there you go, guys. They're all going to float. They're all going to replace themselves. But yeah, the engine just feeds itself so well. It's really good. Next, the newest part of my, well, I guess not the newest part, but a new part of my TG Stun, Hazy Flame service. What this guy does is you can normal summon him without a tribute. If you do, his attack becomes 1,000. He is a level 6. But what ends up happening is if you have skill drain on the field, then Hazy Flame's condition is met in your hand, so you can normal summon him without the tribute. He then becomes 2,000 when skill drain is on board. So, he becomes another beat stick. He is a beast, so you get to use Horn of the Phantom Beast on him. What is also really important is Striker is a level 2 that you can special summon, and then you can then normal summon your service, which gives you a 6 and a 2, gives you an 8, gives you the opportunity to synchro into a level 8 monster, which this deck did not have as much access to before. Again, these guys are floaters, so when he is destroyed, you get to add another one to your hand. If you do have the opportunity to put 2 on board, they are both level 6s, and it gives you the chance to actually put out rank 6s, which, again, this deck did not have the option to do that before. So, that's another one of the new add-ins to this deck. Next, Double Beast King Barbaros. I only run 2 Barbaros. 3 kind of starts to clog a little bit. He does come out at 1,900, which is a significant number, but once you get skill drain on board, he becomes a 3,000 beater, which is extremely hard for your opponent to deal with. 3,000 attack monsters are just always hard for your opponent to deal with. So 2 Beast Kings. Next, another one of the new monsters in the deck, Double Fencing Fire Ferret. This guy is extremely good. He allows for a lot of creative plays. His 1,700 body is a significant number. And then once he is destroyed, you get to destroy 1 monster on your opponent's side of the field and inflict 500 points of damage. So what is really cool about this card is the fact that anytime that it is destroyed. So if they Scrap Dragon it, if it's setting face down and they Scrap Dragon it, you then get to destroy their Scrap Dragon. If they random MST your set Call of the Haunted, and you bring this guy back, he's then destroyed by your Call of the Haunted, and anytime he's destroyed, you then get to destroy a monster. So you can essentially take their monster out with their MST and deal 500 damage. So yeah, he creates a lot of creative plays. He's also really good with Kaiser Coliseum. You put him out there, and your opponent wants to make a push, wants so bad to be able to make a push, because the Kaiser Coliseum, he can't, because you only have the one monster. So what ends up happening is they end up having to answer the one monster that you have, and if they do, when he dies, you get to destroy the monster that they have on board also, which it puts them in a place where they're just not able to make any significant kind of push. So yeah, Fencing Fire Ferret, he puts in work, guys. Next, we'll get into the spells. We're going to add consistency to the deck with Pot of Duality. I mean, it does what it does, guys. We've been talking about it for years. Double Kaiser Coliseum. Again, this guy, paired with my monsters that are standalone monsters, like my Fencing Fire Ferret, with Skill Drain on board, my Barbaros, about any of my monsters with Horn of the Phantom Beast on it can be a standalone monster, and then it just becomes an extremely difficult situation for your opponent when you put any of those standalone monsters out with Kaiser Coliseum, because then they're forced to try to answer that one monster, and it's so hard to do it when they can only put one monster on board also. Next, I have Dark Hole, which is great in this deck because so many of these cards are floaters. So whenever I do destroy my own monster in some situations with Dark Hole, I will get to add the floater from like one of the TG monsters or one of the Cerberus, something along those lines. I run 2 MST. 2 MST is really all I really needed at any point in testing with this deck so far. And then 1 Book of Moon helps me win battles. It does. I can stop your play. You got to make a synchro play. I can put your monster down and then just beat over it. So yeah, it is what it is. It puts in work. Triple Skill Drain. I almost feel like I could play 2 of this. I almost feel like 3's a little cloggy, but then with multiple MSTs, I do feel like they're picking it off quite a bit. So I don't know. It's at 3 right now. Also at 3, Horn of the Phantom Beast. This card does not need to be at 2. This card is perfectly fine at 3 because you have more than enough targets for it. And whenever you do start to resolve Horn of the Phantom Beast, you just start to gain so much advantage. Alright, next, a card that I was never really a big fan of in my TG Stun deck until here just recently, TG1 EM1. It is a creature swap of sorts, except I have to swap a TG monster, and I get to choose which monster from your side of the field comes to me. So that card is extremely good. Call of the Haunted. This card was never that great before, but now because I'm running the Kaiser Coliseum, I actually started playtesting this deck before the end of the format, and what ended up happening was I was testing against dragons, and my opponent would summon Debris Dragon. I would then call the Haunted and bring back any of my monsters. And then call the Haunted with a Kaiser Coliseum on board, bringing back one of my monsters. The Debris Dragon would have to resolve without effect because they can't put a second monster on board because I then control the one monster. So that was a lot of fun. I've actually done that since the format change. I've done that to a tour guide once. My opponent summoned tour guide. I had Kaiser Coliseum with no monster. I called the Haunted back one monster, and he was like, well, that's not fair at all. Mirror Force puts in work, and then the standard of what everybody's running as far as traps is concerned: Solemn Warning, Bottomless Trap Hole, Torrential Tribute, and Compulsory Evacuation Device. Now let's get into the extra deck. Giganticastle, I don't know, guys. I can make it, so it's in there. Stardust works in under Skill Drain. Colossal Fighter works in under Skill Drain. A Striker and a Rush Rhino will give me Barkion. I do like going into Barkion when I can. It's good. Gaia Knight, the Force of the Earth, is another good monster. Easy to make in 6s. And then this guy is a horn target. I actually forgot about that. Celestial, Wolf Lord, Blue Cyrus is a Horn of the Phantom Beast target. So he makes his way into the extra deck because he's a 6, he's easy to make, and because he's a Horn of the Phantom Beast target. My one and only level 5 TG Wonder Magician, good card. You can gain a couple pluses off of this card. When it comes out, you can pop a card and then pop a back row, and then when it dies, you get to draw a card. So it's pretty good. Hazy Flame, Basil Trice. I can't ever pronounce this card. This guy's pretty cool. You make him with 2 service. He's like a small BLS. Photon Strike Bouncer, Constellar, Potomi, M7, and then for my rank 4s, which I don't go into rank 4 very often, but for the chances that you are going to go into it, 85 Crazy Box is like the one that I go into the most. Black Shipicorn, Diamond Dyer. Diamond Dyer in this deck is actually pretty stupid. If you can pull his effect off, everything else that you're going to destroy is almost always a floater of some sort, and you get to keep Diamond Dyer out, and you just get to add more floaters to your hand. It's actually pretty dumb the way that he works. Abyss Dweller for the chance that you'll face Mermills and whatnot. You know, you got to have it. And then the one rank 3 that I play is an Acid Golem because I am running the 3 skill drain, so he can be another 3,000 attack monster. So, there you go, guys. That is the deck as of now. Been just a couple changes, mainly just the extra deck since I play tested it last, since the article. So yeah, there you go, guys. Make sure you head over to Legit YGO, check out my article there, and check out all the other YuGiOh articles. Also, make sure that you click on the store icon there, and take you over and then buy a bunch of cards, because I mean that's what it's all about. I appreciate it, guys. Subscribe, comment down below, show us how much you love us.